like the country club, especially the meals we get here. Our home is actually still downtown at the Yorktown, and hopefully we'll be back there next year. So today our program is going to be about downtown. Silas Chamberlin is our speaker today. Silas is the CEO of Downtown Incorporated, an organization that works every day to promote investment and economic development in downtown New York. In recent years, downtown New York has welcomed more than 100 new businesses, several hundred new residents, and significant investment in infrastructure. Silas will talk about the positive momentum the downtown business community has experienced, projects that will be underway soon, and what the future holds for downtown when we return. He will also explain the role Downtown Incorporated plays in ensuring downtown New York is an attractive place for businesses, residents, and visitors. Silas has been CEO of Downtown Inc. since October of 2016, so he's still in his honeymoon period with us. Born and raised in York County, he spent the past 15 years living and working in Philadelphia and the Lehigh Valley, where he held leadership positions in state government and the nonprofit sector, and had the opportunity to work with communities from Philadelphia to Tamaqua. In addition to his economic development background, Silas holds a PhD in environmental history from Lehigh University and is author of a book entitled On the Trail, A History of American Hiking, which was published by Yale University Press in October of 2016. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Silas Chamberlin.
Thanks, John, for the introduction, and thanks to all of you for the opportunity to talk to such a great group of people who I know already care a good deal about our downtown. So what I get to do today is brag a little bit about all the progress we've been making downtown, talk with you about the role that Downtown Inc. has played in that progress, and then talk a little bit about what the future holds, both in terms of some specific projects that are on the horizon, and in terms of how Downtown Inc. continues to evolve the work that we do in response to the growth of our downtown. So if you're not familiar with us as an organization, we were created out of a merger between a nonprofit called Main Street York and a municipal authority, the York Business Improvement District Authority. So we're an innovative organization that has this mix of municipal authority powers, but also the flexibility of a nonprofit. And our basic mission is to focus on how we encourage and drive and promote investment in downtown York. So my staff of 6 colleagues wakes up every day thinking about how we can make improvements to our infrastructure downtown, how we can recruit and retain businesses downtown, how we can attract visitors into our downtown, all for the purpose of economic development in downtown York. So our traditional focus area has been the 26 square blocks of our central business district. And within these 26 square blocks, which should look familiar to you as are the core of our city, North George Street and South George Street passing through the middle, the east-west is Philadelphia and Market Street. We have approached our work in 4 basic areas. We do marketing and promotion to visitors. That could be anyone living in the city of York, anybody in York County that maybe hasn't been downtown in several decades, or it could be people coming from well outside York County that are coming to downtown York for the first time. We improve the urban landscape, and that simply means when you come downtown, it should be clean, it should be green, it should be a well-functioning place where you can park easily and walk to where you want to go very easily. We know that public safety is always a concern, and so we work every day to try to improve public safety within our 26 square blocks. And then finally, our bread and butter is economic development. That takes many forms, from working with small businesses that might fill a very small retail location to trying to get corporate offices to locate downtown and pretty much everything in between. So I'm going to walk through, in a very general sense, how we approach that work. The first is marketing and promotion. We have gotten much more savvy in the way that we talk about York and the tactics that we use. We publish a magazine 3 times a year called Downtown York that's circulated at about 120,000 copies annually, and that covers the whole region. We also do a downtown walking guide. We have a map for our jurors who are one of our captive audiences downtown. We have a week to prove ourselves to some of them, and I think we hook quite a few of them. And then we do traditional marketing in print literature, but also online. We have 20,000 plus social media followers. Now that I've seen the show of hands in this room, folks that are on Facebook, you have no excuse not to be following Downtown Inc. online. But every time that we have a new business opening, every time there's an event coming out, we have this social media network to really help spread the word about what's going on. All of that marketing and promotion is geared around getting people on the ground in downtown York, because we know if they come and experience one of our events or go out to eat, they're going to be hooked, they're going to come back, or at a minimum, they're going to go back home and tell all their friends that, yes, there are great things happening in downtown York. We put on a lot of events as Downtown Inc. We do Boutique Week, Go Green in the City, but our most iconic event that we host and plan are our First Fridays, which is the first Friday of every month when businesses come together to keep their hours longer, be open later, to offer specials and discounts, and to work with other businesses to attract people downtown. Back in about 2011, when First Friday really started picking up, we had about 6 or 7, sometimes a dozen businesses that might be participating. Now on any given First Friday, we have 80 or more businesses participating. The result has been that the amount of foot traffic we see in our downtown has grown very significantly and very quickly. So August 2015, when we did our foot count on a First Friday, we had about 5,000 people downtown. Just a year later, 8,500 people downtown. This kind of year-to-year growth we've seen month after month. So we're seeing thousands and thousands of people come downtown. Even when we look at recent history, it's a great improvement. So everything I spoke about so far is how we're externally faced and how we try to attract people downtown. But there's a large portion of Downtown Inc.'s work that we hope people will never really realize that we're doing, and one of them is our cleanup crew. So we have a great partnership with the Solid Waste Authority to fund 5 gentlemen who are out in our warm weather months every day of the week, covering every zone of our 26 square blocks, picking up litter. And it may seem like a very simple thing, and you might wonder what kind of impact could a small crew like this have. They remove approximately 14 tons of litter from our streets every year. That's 14 tons that our Public Works Department doesn't need to worry about, 14 tons that our small businesses don't have to go and sweep up when they open each day, and it's 14 tons of litter that visitors to our downtown will never see. So it has a really amazing impact. This year we've expanded our crew a little bit more by giving them a gum removal machine, which uses a mixture of beet juice and a little bit of heat and friction, and it removes all those pesky black circles you see on the sidewalk outside of businesses. For the first time ever, we'll also have 2 crew members that are on all winter long to address litter, even in the cold weather months. We've worked very closely with the City of York to extend the rail trail. You're probably familiar with the project over the last few years to refurbish the trail between York College and Market Street. The next phase of that project is to continue the trail from Philadelphia Street up to George Street. Collectively, this is $3 million of investment from state and private sources, so a major investment in our downtown. When you get up to George Street, if you can picture the north side of the Cadorus, that is the county section of the trail, which they now have pretty much fully funded, and will be completed up to Route 30. So within the next few years, we'll have a completed trail passing through our downtown that goes the whole way from John Rudy Park to Maryland. We're already seeing about 300,000 people a year use that trail, generating $4 million of economic impact. If you connect that length and you have the opportunity for overnight trips on the trail, you can see upwards of $10 million of economic impact and at least 500,000 people using it every year. So it's yet another important way to get more people to come through our downtown and patronize our businesses. We recognize public safety continues to be a concern, so about 6 or 7 years ago, we started a public safety committee and a number of tactics to help address public safety. We have a security camera program that I'll talk about in a second. We raise private funding to help our police department pay for the extra officer hours on warm Fridays and Saturdays when there's thousands of extra people downtown. We even do training for our law enforcement officers and how they can work more closely with the business community to design storefronts and other spaces that actually prevent crime before it ever happens. To show you our security camera program, and this is worth talking about because it's just an interesting behind the scenes story. This is security cameras that we had downtown in 2014. It's about 100 cameras, mostly focused around our courthouse, the county center, Logos Academy, the public schools. So relatively limited coverage when you look at our whole downtown. Earlier this year, I had my staff go out and document every camera that they could find throughout the downtown. This is about 450 cameras, a portion of which are tied into the police department's wireless network, so that at any point, if there's a crime, they can follow up on it immediately. What we did during this process was create a database that showed the location of every single camera, where it's pointing, who owns it. We took pictures of every camera, and the result is that we were able to create a heat map showing where the clusters of security cameras are, and more importantly, look for gaps in that network of coverage. Then, with funding from Better York and its partners, we were able to fund the installation of security cameras at 10 priority locations that we picked out with the police department to fill in those gaps. So now, along Cherry Lane, along the rail trail, at critical intersections in our downtown, we now have security camera coverage where we never did before. It's a great tool in prosecuting crime when it happens, and we hope it will increasingly be a good tool in deterring crime before it happens. So what has all this amounted to? Since 2011, when the police department launched their downtown unit, which means we have 2 dedicated officers in our downtown, we've seen reported crime reduced 25%, we've seen robberies reduced 80%, and we've seen assault with firearms reduced 50%. So we've made significant advances in public safety in our downtown, and it's something that we'll continue to address in the future. This is not the kind of thing that you would print on the front of a brochure, but I think it's the kind of thing that the folks in this room can understand as being really important to the development of our downtown and encouraging investment there. So what do we do in terms of economic development? It's very simple. The businesses that are already here, we want to make sure that they stick around. We do not want small businesses opening and then failing, and we want to recruit new businesses to our community. We have a great committee of developers, realtors, bankers that come together and help advise us on how to fill vacancies when there's a business that has a problem, to step in and help address whatever issue they're facing. And frankly, our approach to this has changed quite a bit in recent years. We used to spend quite a bit of staff time and resources recruiting new businesses to downtown York. And that was a time when most people didn't think of downtown York as a place where you would open a new business. That has changed. Now we focus most of our time on retaining the businesses who come here, and in fact, we're approached by new businesses every week and that we can't find a suitable vacancy for. So the demand for space downtown has increased drastically, and Downtown Inc. has shifted our approach based on that. We also have somebody that works full-time on my staff. Her whole job is to be a liaison with the small business community. We do merchant workshops on a variety of topics. And we do economic development planning, so we can be less reactionary and sort of just accept whoever comes to us that wants to open a business, and actually plan for what kind of mix between retail and restaurants and offices and housing we have in our downtown, and then develop accordingly. The impact of this over time has been that back in 2011, 2012, we were averaging 6 to 10 new businesses opening in our downtown each year. This past year, we had 38 new businesses open. Already in 2017, we're at 31 new or expanded businesses, so we're on pace to really just blow that record away. But then that means that when you have 100 plus new businesses open, the real goal is to make sure that they stay open, so that we don't get in a cycle of boom and bust, and that's where our retention efforts really come in. Residential development is an incredibly important part of our downtown economy. Several years ago, we set a goal for our downtown of adding 500 units of new residential development. I'm happy to say we're well on the way towards that. We've had 279 units come online and be fully leased, or about to come online and be fully leased. We have a number of residential projects in the pipeline that will help us get to that 500 unit level. And that really changes the kind of businesses that you need in your downtown, because all of a sudden you have a demand for grocery stores, dry cleaners, the kinds of basic services that people need when they're living downtown. The great thing about our residential development has been that some of it has incorporated affordable housing directly into it. And there's still lots of opportunities to rent if you're a young person that wants to live in the city for the first time at a relatively low rent, or you're someone who traditionally has lived in the downtown. We're not seeing the effects of gentrification that we've seen in a lot of revitalizing communities. So given all that momentum and all the great progress that we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, the question becomes, what's next? We can and will continue to do a lot of the same things that we've done, but we also want to look at some catalytic projects for the future and change the way that we work. So the first thing that we want to do is do a better job of telling our story and telling people from outside this region how great downtown York really is. And we're excited that within the next few weeks we'll be launching a branding effort in partnership with the York County Community Foundation, and thanks to a $100,000 grant from the York County Tourism Grant Program. It will be a year-long process that will require a lot of community input, a lot of research, but the ultimate end product will be a distinctive brand and marketing strategy for downtown York, and a distinctive brand and marketing strategy for the County of York. Both of those strategies will obviously interface with one another, but will also be distinctive. We've hired North Star Destination Marketing out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They have worked with lots of post-industrial communities to come up with exciting brands that have tied in with economic development and encouraged investment, and that's exactly what we want to do for downtown York. So this grant represents the largest investment pretty much ever made in downtown York's marketing, and so we're really excited that the next couple weeks we're going to start this process. I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about it in the coming year. I know the Northwest Triangle continues to be of interest to many people. The redevelopment authority of the city controls this land, and if you walked out there today you would say, wow, there's nothing going on here. In fact, there's quite a bit going on behind the scenes. The Time Group continues to do their due diligence and consider their options for a mixed retail and residential development on several of the parcels here. And York Exponential has a 12-month option on one parcel to look at a technology and innovation hub right along the Cadoras. So both of these projects have the potential to be catalytic for our downtown. Not only are they just great in terms of adding more potential for residences, more opportunities for people to work downtown, but it will also shift the focus of development towards the Northwest Triangle, which means it creates opportunities along North George Street and Beaver Street and that entire neighborhood to create other spin-off development. The other big development project that's been in the news quite a bit recently is 1 North George Street. Many of you know this as the former Citizens Bank building. Right now there's a 6-month option that a developer has to turn this into a mixed-use entertainment complex. This is probably the first viable proposal that we've heard for the use of this space. There's still a lot of details to work out. It's a project that could be $4 to $5 million before it's done, so a significant investment. But downtown York has been working with Better York and the City of York to make sure whatever this development looks like, it's responsive to the fact that we've had significant residential development and business investment in the downtown, and that the developer is a true community partner, and I think we've made a lot of progress towards that. So it's potentially really exciting to have this happening on our square. Finally, with the growth of our downtown and the success that we've seen, Downtown Inc. has had the luxury to think about how we can do our work a little bit differently. If you remember the map that I showed you of our 26 square blocks, we have been historically very focused on whatever's within that red line. If it's a couple blocks away, maybe we'll get involved, but probably not. And that needs to change. We know that visitors to our community don't care where the business improvement district is. Most people coming off of Route 30 and traveling south on George Street think they're already in the city of York, even though they're in North York Borough. Those kinds of political boundaries just don't matter to visitors and residents of our communities. So we want to take advantage of that. People coming in and out of our city on West Market in West Philadelphia represent about 14,000 car trips each day. On the east side, about 16,000. South George, 11,000, and 13,000 on North George, which means every single day we have 55,000 opportunities to make a positive impression on people coming in or out of our city or to make a negative impression if those corridors of space are not looking attractive. And we know that as part of having a sustainable downtown, people have to have a positive experience when they're making their trip in and when they're making their trip out. So what we'd like to do is take the best practices that we've learned in our 26 square blocks and start spreading them out along these key corridors, whether that means beautification, whether it means public safety initiatives, wayfinding, branding, or simple coordination with the businesses along these corridors. We see the work of Downtown Inc. as something that has the opportunity to spread out and benefit the entire city, not just our tiny 26 square blocks. So my final slide is simply to show you how we're funded. We get great support from the City of York and the County of York, but we're also cognizant of not being a burden on our local municipalities. We also get a small assessment from the commercial properties in our downtown. It's the lowest assessment rate of any business improvement district in the state of Pennsylvania. And so as a result of that, 79% of our funding comes from private sources. And as I look around the room, that 79% is most of you. Most of your businesses are supporting us. So we're incredibly grateful for that support. We're grateful that you've decided that a vibrant downtown is not only crucial to the City of York, but to the economic welfare of York County. So thanks to all of you, and I believe I have a little time for questions if anybody has any. Yes?
Quick question, you were talking about the number of ribbon cuttings and business openings. What's our plus minus right now in York between openings and closings?
So we have a retention rate, a loss of, oh sure. He asked, I said there were 39 or 38 ribbon cuttings last year. What percentage of those end up closing, I think is part of the...
I was wondering how many closed in the same year that we had 38 open, so it's the overall plus minus.
So every year we have a loss of about 15%. So 15% of our businesses will close. National average for a typical small business is 33%. 1 in 3 businesses will close in the first year, and then as they get more well established, they have a more likelihood of staying there. So compared to the national average, we do very well. But I think part of the problem with York is that some of the things that have closed have been very popular or iconic locations or at high profile locations. So one that I'm thinking of is Otto's on North George Street that has now gone through several iterations and is currently Revival Social Club. So yes, there's about a 50% failure rate for our businesses. No?
Most of your donations, are they coming from people who are within that 26 square block district, or do they come from external? Like how does the donation and funding actually relate to each other within that area and externally?
Sure. So she asked, are most of our supporters, our private supporters, from within our downtown, or are they coming from all over the place? Traditionally, they have been from our downtown. In fact, early on, our only source of our budget was that assessment on commercial properties that we have, which represents about 1/8 of our budget now. So it used to be that only our downtown stakeholders funded us. Right now, we're working hard to make the case that regardless of where you are in York County, you should have a vested interest in the success of downtown York and the city in general. So we're starting to see more and more York County businesses that may or may not be active in downtown become donors to the organization. And part of their rationale is recruiting. That when people are looking at what region of the country they want to move to, if you don't have a vibrant downtown in the 21st century that has cultural amenities and restaurants and even places to live, then you're not competitive in recruiting for your top candidates. So I think they're looking at it as a good investment as part of their business strategy. Sure.
Silas, what percent, when a donor's dollar comes in to downtown York, what percentage of it goes to your value proposition versus salaries and administrative expenses?
I don't know the exact percentage off the top of my head. I would say, it's about, we're like any nonprofit. We shoot for 25% overhead and operations and 75% going towards the work that we do. Part of what's interesting about Downtown Inc.'s work is that most of what we provide in terms of value is technical assistance to our businesses. And so unlike a business where you're bringing in fundraising and it's going towards a specific project, a lot of times, like my business service manager, there is no specific project. She responds every day to inquiries coming in. So really what our donors are paying for is the expertise of our staff to be able to work with a business that's struggling, or a business that wants to expand, or someone who's based in Lancaster and wants to come to downtown York. So it's I guess I would make the argument it's a little different than a typical nonprofit in that sense.
What kind of coordination do you do with other local organizations?
So we have a lot of partners. Economic development related would be the York County Economic Alliance. Obviously, have a close relationship with Kevin, and pretty much we have a great working relationship in the sense that we have a county vision of what we want to accomplish in terms of economic development, but we also have a very specific vision of what we want in our downtown. There's great opportunities where those two overlap really well. So the Yorktown Project's a great example, where the IDA at the county level is able to raise funds for a project that's crucial to our downtown, and that Downtown Inc. would never have the capabilities to do, but we can still help support along the way. We worked really closely with the City of York and their staff, obviously, the County of York. We have a lot of downtown nonprofits and businesses we work with. When you have a staff of 7 and you have a budget that's relatively limited, the only way you get things done is through partnerships. But we also want to be cognizant of not duplicating efforts as well. Sure.
Two questions. What is your budget? You danced around that, and I don't know what the figure is. And 2, is downtown York getting involved with the Penn Market project at all?
So our budget is $800,000 a year. I'm sure after this meeting it'll be closer to $1 million, right? That has grown substantially in recent years, in part due to our development work, and we've added quite a few staff to be able to take on more. Yeah, we're intimately involved in the Penn Market process. We're part of that study team. We've worked closely with the RDA to support their acquisition of the Penn Market, in part because one of our focus areas is the Wego neighborhood, that's everything west of the Cadorus, and we think that Penn Market plays an incredibly important role in revitalizing that whole neighborhood. One more?
Have you found that the downtown planning, zoning, building, HARB system has been a catalyst or an impediment to downtown growth?
Is Mayor here? Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. Honestly, the reason that we have such a great opportunity in downtown York is because it's been protected over the years. I mean, you go to most downtowns, and because of urban renewal and because of previous development plans, they've knocked down entire blocks, they put in surface parking along their main streets, and it's not the kind of sense of place that you would really want in an urban area. So HARB, to be able to have some of those regulations and protections, just incredibly important. It's the only reason that we're having success now. Downtown Inc. would not have to exist in the same form it does now if there weren't times when developers ran into issues working through regulations. A big part of what we do is someone that's waiting for their inspection and they don't know how to get it done, or they want to open up in a property and they don't know who to talk to at the city or in the private real estate community, and we facilitate all those relationships. So we do feel sort of a need there that greases the wheels between the private and the public sector. I wouldn't say that we wake up and think, wow, how are we going to circumvent all these great regulations that are on us, but I think that the role Downtown Inc. plays is if someone goes into a development process eyes wide open and they know what HARB is and how to deal with it, if they know what inspections they have to get done and how to deal with it, at least starting from that foundation, it's going to be a better process than if they were just going it alone without a Downtown Inc. to help. All right, well, thanks for the great questions and thanks for your time.